The Great Depression, what actually caused it, and how families survived the worst economic collapse in history. Before we get started, if you enjoy content that breaks down fascinating financial stories and lessons from history, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. In the autumn of 1929, the optimism that had defined the Roaring Twenties suddenly collapsed. The United States had enjoyed a decade of rapid industrial growth, rising stock prices, and expanding consumer credit. To many people, prosperity seemed permanent, but beneath that confidence, the financial system had grown dangerously fragile. When the market finally broke, it triggered one of the most devastating economic crises the world had ever seen: the Great Depression. The crash began in late October 1929, during what became known as the Wall Street crash of 1929. For years, investors had been buying stocks with borrowed money, a practice called buying on margin. When stock prices began to fall, investors rushed to sell in panic. Billions of dollars in market value vanished within days. However, the stock market crash alone did not cause the Great Depression. It was only the spark that ignited deeper economic weaknesses. Throughout the 1920s, factories had increased production dramatically, but workers' wages did not rise at the same pace. As a result, Americans could not afford to buy all the goods being produced. Stores filled with unsold products, forcing companies to slow production and lay off workers. At the same time, the banking system was extremely unstable. Thousands of small banks had invested depositors' money in risky loans and speculative stocks. When the economy weakened, frightened customers rushed to withdraw their savings. This wave of panic led to thousands of bank failures across the country. When a bank closed, families often lost their entire life savings overnight. By 1933, the crisis had reached staggering levels. Nearly 25% of American workers were unemployed. Businesses shut down, farms collapsed under falling crop prices, and many families lost their homes. In cities, long lines formed outside soup kitchens and bread lines run by charities. Across rural America, farmers faced a second disaster. Severe drought and poor farming practices created massive dust storms that destroyed crops and forced thousands of families to abandon their land. This environmental catastrophe became known as the Dust Bowl, worsening the suffering of an already struggling population. Yet, despite these hardships, families found ways to survive. Many households adopted extreme frugality. Clothes were patched and reused until they fell apart. Gardens became essential sources of food, and families raised chickens or planted vegetables to reduce grocery costs. In cities, neighbors shared meals and resources, creating informal support networks that helped communities endure the crisis. Children often left school early to work and contribute to family income. Mothers developed remarkable skills in stretching small amounts of food into nourishing meals. Bread, beans, potatoes, and homemade soups became staples in many homes. Government intervention also played a crucial role in stabilizing the economy. When Franklin D. Roosevelt became president in 1933, he launched a series of economic reforms known as the New Deal. These programs created jobs, strengthened banks, and built major infrastructure projects such as roads, bridges, and dams. While the recovery was slow, these policies restored confidence in the financial system and helped millions of Americans return to work. The Great Depression ultimately reshaped modern economic policy. Governments around the world learned the importance of regulating banks, supporting unemployed workers, and stabilizing financial markets during crises. Most importantly, the experience revealed the extraordinary resilience of ordinary families. Even during the darkest years of economic collapse, communities relied on cooperation, resourcefulness, and determination to survive. The Great Depression remains one of history's most powerful reminders that financial systems can fail, but human resilience often proves far stronger.